Shalom. My name is Adam, and I welcome you to the parable of the Vineyard. Every day, Yahweh is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to His righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of His law. Join us as we seek to be refined by His Word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in His way, truth, and life. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard. This is week 41 of our Torah portion study. It's going to cover Numbers 25:10 through 30, verse 1. It centers around Phinehas, the everlasting priesthood promised to him. A couple other side notes like Zelophehad and the daughters. We've got the instructions for the daily offerings, the weekly Sabbath offerings, the monthly offerings, and then the appointed time offerings. And then so just some of the general character of Yahweh. This is a really awesome Torah portion, and I look forward to going over it with you and growing together. The point of these studies is to recognize that our Messiah did not come to do away with the law. Perhaps maybe at most end the animal sacrifices and how the ritual washings and things that the prophets clearly prophesied things were going to end, like the animal sacrifices. And then Hebrews talks about the diverse washings and parts of the priesthood that were until the time of Reformation and until the time Yahushua came. But we don't see any indication that the rest of the Torah has been altered, but we do see that these sacrifices are forever, and so we're going to talk about maybe some of the ways that can be walked out today. So anyways, let's get started with prayer. We'll blow the shofars, and then we'll get right into Numbers 25. So let's pray. Father Yahweh, we come before you in Yahushua's name, and just thank you so much for waking us up, for drawing us unto your Son. Thank you for saving us. Thank you for creating us. Thank you for giving us the Sabbath, day of rest and reflection and growth and seeking you even more than the rest of the week. And we just thank you so much for all you do. Please bless us with your Holy Spirit that we can understand these words, apply them to our lives, and be conformed to the image of Yahushua and to walk in righteousness as you called us to. Amen. Hallelujah. All right, get those shofars ready. All right, here we go. I'm actually going to read Numbers 25, 1 through 9, because I feel like most of the Torah portion breaks are actually really good. I really feel like, in my opinion, before we move forward on this Torah portion, I want to refresh the first 9 verses, and then we'll get into it. All right, so Numbers 25:1, and Yashral abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their Elohim, and the people did eat, and bow down to their Elohim. And Yashral joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of Yahweh was kindled against Yashral. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Take all the heads of the people, and hang them up before Yahweh against the sun, that the fierce anger of Yahweh may be turned away from Yashral. So just a reminder that to me, this just solidified for me that this was part of that sun worship culture that obviously you see is dominant today, and even a remnant Israel is encouraging people to go back to sun worship. And so, man, nothing new under the sun. Numbers 25:5, and Moshe said to the judges of Yasharel, Slay ye every one of his men that were joined unto Baal Peor. And behold, one of the children of Yasharel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianiteth woman in the sight of Moshe, and in the sight of all the assembly of the children of Yasharel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the assembly. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the assembly, took a javelin in his hand, and he went after the man of Yasharel into the tent, and thrust both of them through, the man of Yasharel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Yasharel, and those that died in the plague were 24,000. And so, kind of just a reminder that, like we read in Exodus 15, Yahweh was a man of war. I think a lot of times we're taught to really just become soft people, and that Yahusha was just completely soft. We know that a lot of times, of course, especially in dealing with wounded sheep, and was very caring and very comforting. But man, with the wicked and especially with the false religious leaders, and man, he was pretty fierce. And he's the same Elohim that killed 24,000 of these people in a moment who were joined unto the sun worship. And so either he's different now, either he came and appeared and was like, you know what, I was just way too harsh in the Old Testament. We're going to do things a lot differently now. I'm not going to get mad about sin. I'm just going to kind of gloss things over. Come on, that's not the deal. So let's get into this week's Torah portion and praise the Most High. No more delay.
And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying,
Pinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aharon the priest, has turned my wrath away from the children of Yasharel, while he was zealous for my sake among them, that I consumed not the children of Yasharel in my jealousy. Wherefore say, Behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace, and he shall have it, and his seed after him, even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his Elohim, and made an atonement for the children of Yasharel.
Now the name of the Yasharelite that was slain, even that was slain with the Midianiteth woman, was Zimri, the son of Kalu, a prince of a chief house among the Shimonim. And the name of the Midianite woman that was slain was Kozbai, the daughter of Tsur. He was head over a people, and of a chief house in Midian. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying,
Vex the Midianim, and smite them, for they vex you with their wiles, wherewith they have beguiled you in the matter of Peor, and in the matter of Cosbi, the daughter of a prince of Midian, their sister, which was slain in the day of the plague for Peor's sake.
All right. So a couple things here I want to make mention. Let's talk about this everlasting priesthood, because, we're learning that when he talks about the Sabbath, it's everlasting, and the Passover, and we're like, okay, that's why we're going to do this, And so in a similar way, if we're learning that's true, well, is this true? Were the sons of Aaron given an everlasting priesthood? And I think a lot of people would say, well, no, in light of Melchizedek, Levi has been kind of just done away with or put away. And I would actually argue, not argue, that's the wrong word. My opinion would be like, well, no. Let's take a look at some more prophecy, one that a lot of us are looking forward to and familiar with. Some of the preceding verses, especially in the teens, there is about him coming, gathering us, bringing us to Jerusalem, New Jerusalem, that is, of course, and nourishing us, and time of joy. And then here continuing, so basically he's going to bring us to him, give some sort of power or new garments, and then send back out to gather more of the remnant. So I will set a sign among them, and I will send those that escape of them unto the nations, to Tarshish, Pul, and Lud that draw the bow, to Tubal and Yavan, to the isles afar off, that have not heard my fame, neither have seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. So it's just kind of like Messiah drew the disciples in, and even the 70, or some say 72, and sent them back out. Well, he's going to do that again in the last days. And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto Yahweh out of all the nations, upon horses, and in chariots, and in litters, upon mules, upon swift beasts, to my holy mountain Jerusalem, says Yahweh, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of Yahweh. And I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, says Yahweh. And so this is a end times context, and this is still to come. And so this is why I would just be like, okay, well, the everlasting priesthood still is there. To give you a quick summary of what I understand, this priesthood is eternal. It's the Melchizedek priesthood, it says without mother, without father, and just that it's not limited to, an earthly birth, in my opinion. I think this is a spiritual thing, but I believe that the Melchizedek priesthood obviously existed pre-flood. I mean, we say that, or not pre-flood, pre-Levi, in that Abraham gave tithes to Melchizedek. I believe that Melchizedek priesthood started with Adam and then got passed down, maybe at least Enoch, Noah, and then Noah to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Then with Jacob, the Melchizedek priesthood involves kingship, priesthood, and firstborn status, all three of them. And those three were broken up. Joseph, of course, got the firstborn. Judah got the kingship. Levi got the priesthood. And then Yahusha brought that back together, bringing things back to the ancient ways. But nevertheless, the operations and the selection thereof will be, from the seed of Phinehas, sons of Aaron, forever. Just like the lineage of David, it's a lineage forever. It just doesn't end. And so, a couple things, how this works. And we see this, it was prophesied in the prophets for these offices to come back together. Just very briefly, Zechariah 6:12 says, "And speak unto him, saying, Thus speaketh Yahweh of hosts, saying, Behold, the man whose name is the branch. He shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of Yahweh. Even he shall build the temple of Yahweh, and he shall bear the glory, and shall sit and rule upon his throne." So this is kingship. "And he shall be a priest upon his throne, and the counsel of peace shall be between them both." So it's like bringing them back together. We know Yahusha is prophesied and known to be that branch, but nevertheless, us, his people, I mean, he himself says, "I am the vine, you are the branches." And so we're supposed to be walking like him in this same priesthood. So also, a little further, Isaiah 22:20-24, "And it shall come to pass in that day that I will call my servant Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and I will clothe him with your robe, and strengthen him with your girdle, and I will commit your government into his hand, and he shall be a father to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to the house of Judah. And the key of the house of David will I lay upon his shoulder, so shall he open, and none shall shut, and he shall shut, and none shall open. And I'll fasten him as a nail in a sure place, and he shall be for a glorious throne to his father's house, and they shall hang upon him all the glory of his father's house, the offspring and the issue, all the vessels of small quantity, from the vessels of the cups even to all the vessels of flagons." And so, we know that this kind of reveals that interesting dynamic of Yahusha is our father. I mean, if we're going to call Abraham the father of the faith, I mean, well, what's Messiah then? Messiah, of course, is the father of the faith. But it's interesting, this is obviously prophesying of Yahusha being of the line of David. And in my opinion, this is a sidebar, and I'm not going to have the time to really back this up. But in the Testament, the patriarchs, I think 6 out of the 12 prophesy the Messiah would specifically come from the house of David and from the house of Aaron. And we see a little snippet of that in the Gospel of Luke, in that Mary was a near kinsman to Elizabeth, who was a daughter of Aaron. And that word near kinsman doesn't mean just, of one of the 12 tribes. That is like a close family relation. And anyways, so yeah, it's possible that Mary could have been a daughter of both of Judah and of Levi. I don't know all the different dynamics and how that exactly works, but that is the prophecy, that Messiah would be of both houses. But nevertheless, Messiah, who is a father to us, has a father himself. And so it says, "I'll fasten him as a nail in a sure place, and he shall be for a glorious throne to his father's house." And in a similar way, this passing of the succession continues. We'll talk about that a little bit later, when Moses gets the notification, "Hey, it's time for you to die, just like Aaron," and we'll see the shepherd's heart. He's like, "Well, please anoint someone else to be a leader, as a shepherd for them." So in a similar way, Yahusha has risen into the heavens and reigns in the heavens, and we see a lot of prophecy where he is in the heavens and he works through his people, his overcomers. He's like, "I'll sit you on my throne," And so, in a similar way, Yahusha passes down that torch of succession to his people, who should be operating in this kingship and the priesthood, and will one day set them in that place. Ezekiel 37:15-26 says, "Moreover," or the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, "Moreover, you son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah, and for the children of Israel his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in your hand. And when the children of your people shall speak unto you, saying, Will you not show us what you mean by these things? Say unto them, Thus says Yahweh Elohim, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and I will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and will make them one stick, or one rod, and they shall be in your hand." So this is talking about a branch growing up, very much like Zechariah 6. Now this is incorporating now the firstborn status. We saw the priesthood and the kingship come together. Well, now we're also seeing, well, how's this Ephraim? Ephraim was given, Joseph was given the double portion and the firstborn status. And so now we're seeing that being grafted in here. "And the sticks were on you, right shall be in your hand before their eyes, and say unto them, Thus says Yahweh Elohim, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, and I will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their Elohim. And David my servant shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd, and they shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they, and their children, and their children's children forever, and my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. I will place them, multiply them, and set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore." So just some similar talk here, and this is ultimately, this is that, this is the, he says, obviously we're talking about the kingship, priesthood coming together, the firstborn status, and he says in another place, I will make him higher than the kings of the earth. I will also make him my firstborn. We'll look that up in a second here, but it says, Psalm 110, Yahweh said unto my master, Sit you at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. So this is someone who Yahweh, right, is working on their behalf. Yahweh shall send the rod of your strength out of Zion. So this is that rod, that branch, that shoot that's going to grow up we're talking about. Rule you in the midst of your enemies. This is kingship. This is being placed in the midst of the nations. The nations are still ruling. But Yahweh's going to be like, we're doing something new. We're starting a revolution here. I'm setting my king on Zion. Let's go. Your people shall be willing in the day of your power. So there's going to be a day where things change. He's going to give actual power to his people. In my opinion, the ones who are patiently waiting for their master, being diligent, doing what he's asked, walking in spirit, truth, etc., etc. Thy people shall be willing the day of your power, in the beauties of holiness. From the womb of the morning you have the dew of your youth. And this is part of what we read in Ezekiel, or we didn't read the dry bones part about that dew. Yahweh has sworn and will not repent. You are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. And so this is a king, priest. Yahweh, your right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. So this is, in my opinion, this is the Revelation 2 and 3 stuff. This is people who are the overcomers, who will dash the nations with a rod of iron, who will literally sit on Yahusha's throne. This is why it's been, in my opinion, important to understand who Yahusha really is. And he's been represented as Yod-Heh Vav-Heh since the beginning. He's the one that says there is this Father that's over him that no one's ever seen or heard from any time. Now, whether he will be seen at the end, and I don't know. But I'm understanding that Yahusha is the Lord. Yahweh, Yahusha, at your right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries. He shall drink of the brook in the way. Therefore shall he lift up the head. So this is an anointing. This is a power given to human people because they are drinking of the brook in the way. This is Psalm 1 people. These are people that are living by the living water, that are living the Torah. They're not just fakers. They're not just like, yeah, I'm, doing surface level Torah keeping stuff. No, these are people that are living by the book, that no matter what challenge comes their way, they honor the king, they honor Yahusha, they honor the Torah above anything else. And we'll get a little more of that in a bit. But it says, I will make him higher. I will make him higher. Okay, Psalm 89. So this is the promise of that one day. Right here. So, right here. I have found David my servant. With my holy oil have I anointed him. With whom my hand shall be exalted. Mine arm also shall he strengthen with him. The enemy shall not exact upon him, nor the son of wickedness afflict him. And I will beat down his foes before his face, and plague them that hate him. But my faithfulness and my mercy shall be with him, and in my name shall his horn be exalted. So this is a people that are going to be abiding in the name. And this is not some surface level, we know how to pronounce the name. No, this is people that are abiding in the Exodus 34 name of Yahusha. This is spirit, yes. This is truth. This is the Torah foundation. This is mercy, forgiveness. This is not acquitting the guilty. And we'll talk about that a little bit more about, well, actually, maybe even here in a minute, about, the point of Phinehas, think about this. The story could have been completely different. Phinehas could have seen what was going on and been like, and we'll do what he did. And then, Yahweh, Yahusha, Moses, whoever could have communicated, be like, execute Phinehas because he was way too harsh. He took things completely out of control. He just took a javelin and just completely stabbed this man and woman at the same time. This is not okay. He should have just sat down and been like, hey guys, what are you doing? Like, no, stop it. What are you doing? I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be overly insensitive or just being ridiculous, but this is how the story's written. Phinehas saw the detestable thing going on at the thing, and so my point here is not to start encouraging us to start stabbing people, but there is a time where the line has to be drawn, and we are either on Yahweh's side or we're going to care more about other people's feelings and emotions more. And what I'm saying is, it's like the name of Yahweh talks about not acquitting the guilty. And so, I've seen it where it's like we keep Torah, and sometimes, when people are out of line, things like lines have to be drawn. Hard things have to be done. And people don't like that. People are like, I don't like that. I'm uncomfortable. That makes me uncomfortable. Well, so did this. You don't think there are some people that were like, oh, he did what? Oh. He's just too much. Phinehas is just too much. He's too overzealous. But you have Yahweh, who's like, mark that man. He cares more about me than anything else. Going back to here. So in my name, so people that truly stand for the Torah more than anything else. And I'm done with this, like, Torah is like kind of icing on the cake, and everybody's saved that believes in Jesus, and those that those of us that maybe keep the Sabbath and stuff, we might get an extra like jewel in the crown. Or I don't believe any of that anymore. Everything I read is the line in the sand is obeying the Torah or not. And so in my name, in obedience to his ways and all of it, shall his horn be exalted. Horn is power. The nations have the horns of the nations will be cut down one day, but the horns of his people will be exalted one day. I will set his hand also in the sea, and his right hand in the rivers. This is like end times Exodus, Moses versus Pharaoh, David versus Goliath stuff. You come to me with sword and spear and shield, but I come to you in the name of Yahweh and will prevail. Nations compass me about, but I will destroy all of them in the name of Yahweh. 26, he shall cry unto me, you are my Father, my Elohim, and the rock of my salvation. I will also make him my firstborn. So this is an interesting promise to David, who didn't get the right of the firstborn. He got the right of the kingship, but he didn't get the right of the firstborn, nor the priesthood. But nevertheless, we saw that in Psalm 10, that he does get the priesthood. He does get the firstborn. I will make him my firstborn, higher than the kings of the earth. My mercy will I keep him forevermore, and my covenant shall stand fast with him. His seed also will I make to endure forever, and his throne as the days of heaven. And so how can this be? Well, bringing all those elements together in one branch. Yahusha brought it together, of course, in the spiritual, and I believe he's going to bring that together again in these last days. If his children forsake my law and walk not in my judgments, if they break my statutes and keep not my commandments, then will I visit their transgressions with the rod and their iniquity with stripes. Nevertheless, my loving kindness will I not utterly take from him, nor suffer my faithfulness to fail. I'm starting to learn this is another nameplate for the Torah. The light, the peace, love. I mean, all these things point to the Torah. My covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that has gone out of my lips. Once have I sworn by my holiness that I will not lie unto David. His seed shall endure forever. So we're talking about the same thing. This everlasting priesthood forever. David's kingship forever. His throne as the sun before me. It shall be established forever as the moon and as a faithful witness in heaven. Selah. And this is the parable right here of Revelation 12 about clothed with the sun, moon at her feet. This is his body operating in that king and priesthood and doing it well, bright, and that's why the sun, clothed with the sun. And when that happens, the church is going to birth that man-child. This is that, in my opinion, that promise of all those things that Yahushua was promising, the kingship, the priesthood, and the firstborn. But you have cast off and abhorred. You have been wroth with your anointed. You have made void the covenant of your servant. You have profaned his crown by casting it to the ground. You have broken down all his hedges. You have brought down his strongholds to ruin. All that pass by the way spoil him. He is a reproach to his neighbors. You have set up the right hand of his adversaries. You have made all his enemies to rejoice. You have also turned the edge of his sword and have not made him to stand in the battle. You have made his glory to cease and cast his throne down to the ground. The days of his youth have you shortened. You have covered him with shame. How long, O Yahweh, will you hide yourself forever? Shall your wrath burn like fire? Remember how short my time is. Wherefore have you made all men in vain? What man is he that lives and shall not see death? Shall he deliver his soul from the hand of the grave? Selah. Yahweh, where are your former loving kindnesses, which you swear unto David in truth? Remember, Yahweh, the reproach of your servants, how I do bear in my bosom the reproach of all the mighty people, wherewith your enemies have reproached, O Yahweh, wherewith they have reproached the footsteps of your anointed. Blessed be Yahweh forevermore. Amen and amen. So I read a little more than I intended, but so consider, we're looking at this everlasting priesthood. In Malachi 2, we're not going to read all this. I didn't sort this beforehand, but so here, this is the promise. My covenant was with him of life and peace, and we just saw that here. This covenant of peace with Phinehas. It says here, the law of truth was in his mouth. Excuse me. I knew I was coming for a minute. Excuse me. And then it says here, actually no, here, go to 3 here. And so here's the promise of the coming of Yahusha. We know it happened 2,000 years ago, and it's coming again. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And Yahweh, whom you seek, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant, whom you delight in. Behold, he shall come, says Yahweh of hosts. But who may abide the day of his coming, and who shall stand when he appears? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like fuller's soap. And he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and he shall purify the sons of Levi, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Yahweh an offering in righteousness. Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto Yahweh, as in the days of old. So this is the ancient stuff. This is the ancient path. So Yahusha came to bring things back to the ancient path, and as in the former years. And so we'll just stop there. So hopefully I didn't confuse the matter anymore, but that is ultimately the promise, is this ancient priesthood that combines the kingship, priesthood, and firstborn. And that's what Yahusha ends up giving to his people. We're supposed to be under the priesthood under him as the king, priest, and firstborn in the heavens. Well, he's going to do the same down here on earth, and that's ultimately the end times summarized. It's kind of an interesting thing here, kind of putting all that together and what that looks like, considering Yahusha is in the heavens, and that is where he started. That's where he was wanted to be. He created man to have rulership over this earth so that he can be Elohim and receive the fruits thereof. He ended up coming down himself, right, to be that sacrifice, be that fulfillment he kept pointing to, and ultimately show his people how to walk, and just show his kings how to be kings. Well, I was excited there, my voice cracked. But to show kings how to be kings, and show priests how to be priests, and show firstborns who should be the example to be true firstborn. So anyways, I believe Yahusha here, he has the perspective of Yahweh in the heavens. Now listen, why do the heathen rage? So this is the nations, right? And the people. So this is everybody. So this is everybody coming against one people. So why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Consider that Yah's people have always been guilty of the imaginations of their own heart and worshiping him in vain ways according to vanity. So even the people, right, are out of line here. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed. So I believe this is talking about Yahusha, and now raising up his people, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sits in the heavens, Yahusha, shall laugh. Yahweh shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. So that's what I'm seeing in Psalm 110 about this kingship and this rulership being set in the midst of the enemies. That's also why he says in Psalm 23, he sets a table in the midst of my enemies. It says, yet have I set my king. So he's gonna set his David. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. Yahweh said to me, you are my son, this day have I begotten you. So this is kingship, and now we're seeing at least the firstborn status. Ask of me, and I shall give you the nations for your inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron, you shall dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Consider this is what our king, our master, promised us in Revelation 2 or 3. If we keep his words into the end, if we overcome, he will give us that same inheritance. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. Be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve Yahweh with fear and with rejoicing. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and he perish from the way. When his wrath is kindled but a little, blessed are all they that put their trust in him. So very, very interesting stuff. Let's go now to... I want to take a look at Matthew 10. And so this is what I was going back to. It's like Phinehas understood this principle that Yahusha taught. He that loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that takes not his cross and follows after me is not worthy of me. So we literally have to put him first. And this is not a new concept. This is not a new concept, actually. This goes back to Deuteronomy 13. It's talking about the false prophet, if he leads you astray, such and such. However, if your brother, the son of your mother, or your son, or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend, which is as your own soul, the person you love the most, entices you secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which you have not known, you and your fathers, right? So this is bringing them away from Torah. You shall not consent unto him, nor hearken unto them. Neither shall your eye pity him, neither shall you spare, neither shall you conceal him. But you shall surely kill him, and your eye shall be first to put him to death, and afterwards shall the hand of the people. So, listen, that's also not what I'm encouraging in this time. We're not living in a time where we can do these kind of things. We are under the yoke of the nations. Just like Israel couldn't execute all the Torah when they were living in Egypt. And so, in the future, when the kingdom of heaven is ruling and we are under that rulership, I believe that will be in effect again. And I believe that is a way to tend the garden and to keep that kind of stuff out. Listen, there has to be stark lines and sometimes harsh punishments in order for the point to be across. And don't tell me Yahweh doesn't set that precedence with things like Korah that we just learned a few weeks ago. We're talking about a few weeks ago. We're going to reference Achan here in a second, and other major things that had to set the tone, like the priesthood with Nadab and Abihu. Hey, don't treat this priesthood and just come in here and do whatever you want and get drunk and just, be lax about this. Hang on a second. I'm going to set the precedence. Bam, dead. And so I'm not trying to portray that he's harsh, but listen, I respect our Father who is loving and kind and merciful, but if you break the Torah and you do so in a pompous and unrepentant way, or you do some of these detestable things, like some hard things have to be done. And then we get tested all the time, whether we're going to put him first or others first. Anyways, all right. First Maccabees 2, 49 through 64. Now the days drew near for Matthias to die, and he said to his sons, arrogance and reproach have now become strong. It is a time of ruin and furious anger. Now, my children, show zeal for the law, and give your lives for the covenant our fathers. Now, just think about this for a second. Didn't Yahusha die for the law? I mean, obviously for his people, but ultimately for his utmost obedience to the law and teaching it and making an open showing of man-made traditions that had no place in the daily practice and lives of his people. He died for that. So, in a similar way, if we're going to walk like Yahusha, we should have the Torah burning in our hearts, that we'd be willing to do the same. Remember the deeds of the fathers which they did in their generations, and received great honor and an everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful when tested, and it was reckoned to him as righteousness? Joseph in the time of his distress kept the commandment and became master of Egypt. Phinehas our father, because he was deeply zealous, received the covenant of everlasting priesthood. Joshua, because he fulfilled the commandment, became a judge in Israel. Caleb, because he testified in the assembly, received an inheritance in the land. David, because he was merciful, inherited the throne of the kingdom forever. Now consider also the life of David, right? He also executed the will of Yahweh in a very stern manner when people were in total opposition to the Torah. Hence, look at the story of Nabal. And remember, David was a man after Yahweh's own heart, and his only recorded sin was the thing of Uriah and Bathsheba, and possibly the census. But outside of that, I can look at David's actions and be like, okay, that's what a man of Yahweh does. That's what a man of Yahweh does. Okay, guys throwing a bunch of stones at rocks at him, casting their teeth at David, and he doesn't do anything. Okay, that's a man of Yah. Okay. Elijah, because of the great zeal for the law, was taken up into heaven. Hananiah, Azariah, Mishael believed and were saved from the flame. Daniel, because of his innocence, was delivered from the mouth of the lions. And so observe from generation to generation that none who put their trust in him will lack strength. Do not fear the words of a sinner, for his splendor will turn into dung and worms. Today he will be exalted, but tomorrow he will not be found, because he has returned to the dust, and his plans will perish. My children, be courageous and grow strong in the law, for by it you will gain honor. And I think we just read that in Psalm 89, that in his name will his horn grow. So, are we not growing? All right, what do I have here? Last thing. We talked quite a bit about that last week. Well, here, since we're actually in Revelation 2, let's familiarize ourselves with the promises that I was kind of quoting. And he that overcomes and keeps my works to the end, to him will I give power over the nation. So let's break this down. I had some lofty statements about what his people will inherit if they are obedient. And consider, that's also nothing new. Quick rabbit trail. I mean, he told us, it shall come to pass if you will hearken diligently. I mean, I'm talking about making the Torah a priority in every part of our life. And when you do so, I've learned it makes life better. more shalom, more peace, more meaning, more depth, more tears of joy, more appreciating the little things, more pay attention to the right things, more focusing on the things that are important, more, I don't know. But if you hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh Elohim, to observe, to do all these commandments which I command you this day, that Yahweh Elohim will set you on high above all the nations of the earth. Well, hello. He that overcomes and keeps my works to the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Nothing new. And he will rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of the potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received my Father. And I will give him the morning star. So we get to inherit, be co-heirs with Yahusha. And if we're honest, Yahusha is our God, our rock, our salvation, our creator, who's the very one that his design was to create Adam and Eve to rule over earth, and so that he can be Elohim and take his rightful place. And this is that succession and that passing down, that fatherhood. This is what Paul understood and why Paul called Timothy mine own son in the faith. It's this succession. This is different than when Yahushua said, call no man upon your earth your father. This is, I think, is getting to the heart of what like the Catholic priesthood does, and anyways, not to get into that. But Yahushua said that he had a Father in the heavens that no one's ever seen or heard from. So ultimately, he's the source of all the knowledge, wisdom. He gave it to Yahushua. Yahushua righteously executes all the will of his Father, is the spokesperson, the God, the embodiment of the Godhead, is the one who executes the will of the Father, who is the invisible God. Okay, so Yahushua comes down, does his thing, goes back in the heavens, and now wants his people to do the very same thing, to execute the will of the invisible Elohim. And it's this succession, but this priesthood gets passed down to our children and our children's children, and it never stops. And that is the beauty of a world that operates the way it's supposed to. And if it's done in Torah, diligently, completely, then you'll have back to the original plan. How men were supposed to live 1,000 years and live in peace and live in righteousness. Those of you that have read Jasher and Enoch, you see that there was a time where righteousness endured. It was that time frame. You had some of the sons of Cain and whatnot, but the lineage of Adam down to Seth, and they lived unrighteously. After Adam messed up, he became a righteous man. And Enoch was righteous and ruled the earth in righteousness, and the inhabitants of the earth hearkened to Enoch. But over time, after Enoch left, and then Methuselah reigned for a while, and it was Enosh after. Oh my gosh, I don't remember. Forgive me, I don't remember the succession. Anyways, after Enoch left, they carried on for a while, but after a time they just never mind, and everyone went their own way. But anyways, Yahushua wanted to bring it back to that ancient path, that ancient time. And got a little rabbit hole here on Numbers 25. Let's go to 26.
Bemidbar, Numbers, chapter 26. And it came to pass, after the plague, that Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, and unto Eleazar, the son of Aharon the priest, saying,
Take the sum of all the assembly of the children of Yasharel, from 20 years old and upward, throughout their father's house, all that are able to go to war in Yasharel.
And Moshe and Eleazar the priest spoke with them in the plains of Moab, by the Yarden, near Jericho, saying, Take the sum of the people from 20 years old and upward, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And the children of Yasharel, which went forth out of the land of Mitzrayim. Reuven, the eldest son of Yasharel, the children of Reuven, Chanok, of whom comes the family of the Chanokim, of Palu, the family of the Paluim, of Chetzron, the family of the Chetzronim, of Carmi, the family of the Carmiim. These are the families of the Reuvim, and they that were numbered of them were 43,730. And the sons of Palu, Eliav. And the sons of Eliav, Nemuel, and Dathan, and Aviram. This is that Dathan and Aviram which were famous in the assembly, who strove against Moshe and against Aharon in the company of Korach when they strove against Yahweh. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up together with Korach. When that company died, what time the fire devoured the 250 men, and they became a sign. Notwithstanding, the children of Korach died not. The sons of Shimon after their families, of Nemuel, the family of the Nemuelim, of Yamin, the family of the Yaminim, of Yakin, the family of the Yakinim, of Zerach, the family of the Zerachim, of Shaul, the family of the Shaulim. These are the families of the Shimonim, 22,200. The children of Gad after their families, Tsephon, the family of the Tsephonim, of Chagai, the family of the Chagiim, of Shunai, the family of the Shunaim, of Oznai, the family of the Ozniim, of Irai, the family of the Iraim, of Arod, the family of the Arodim, of Arelai, the family of the Arelaim. These are the families of the children of Gad, according to those that were numbered of them, 40,500. The sons of Yehudah were Er and Onan, and Er and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Yehudah after their families were of Shelah, the family of the Shelanim, of Peretz, the family of the Partzim, of Zerach, the family of the Zarchim. And the sons of Peretz were of Chetzron, the family of the Chetzronim, of Chamul, the family of the Chamulim. These are the families of Yehudah, according to those that were numbered of them, 16,500. Of the sons of Yissachar, after their families, of Tola, the family of the Tolaim, of Pua, the family of the Punim, of Yashuv, the family of the Yashuvim, of Shimron, the family of the Shimronim. These are the families of Yissachar, according to those that were numbered of them, 64,300. Of the sons of Zebulun, after their families, of Sered, the family of the Kardim, of Elon, the family of the Elonim, of Yachleel, the family of the Yachleelim. These are the families of the Zebulonim, according to those that were numbered of them, 60,500. The sons of Joseph after their families were Manasseh and Ephraim. Of the sons of Manasseh, of Machir, the family of the Machirim. And Machir begot Gilad. Of Gilad come the family of the Giladim. These are the sons of Gilad. Of Iezer, the family of the Iezerim. Of Chelek, the family of the Chelekim. And of Asriel, the family of the Asrielim. And of Shechem, the family of the Shechemim. And of Shemida, the family of the Shemidaim. And of Chefer, the family of the Cheferim. And Zelophehad, the son of Chefer, had no sons, but daughters. And the names of the daughters of Zelophehad were Machla, and Noah, Chogla, Milcah, and Tirzah. These are the families of Manasseh, and those that were numbered of them, 52,700. These are the sons of Ephraim, after their families, of Shuthelach, the family of the Shuthelachim, of Becher, the family of the Bakrim, of Tachan, the family of the Tachanim. And these are the sons of Shuthelach, of Iran, the family of the Eranim. These are the families of the sons of Ephraim, according to those that were numbered of them, 32,500. These are the sons of Joseph after their families. The sons of Benjamin after their families, of Bela, the family of the Baliim, of Ashbel, the family of the Ashbelim, of Achiram, the family of the Achiramim, of Shefufam, the family of the Shefufamim, of Chufam, the family of the Chufamim. And the sons of Bela were Ard and Naaman, of Ard, the family of the Ardim, and of Naaman, the family of the Namiim, These are the sons of Benjamin, after their families, and they that were numbered of them were 45,600. These are the sons of Dan, after their families. Of Hushim, the family of the Hushimim. These are the families of Dan, after their families. All the families of the Hushimim, according to those that were numbered of them, were 64,400. Of the children of Asher, after their families, Yimna, the family of the Yimnachim. Of Yishvi, the family of the Yishviim. Of Beriah, the family of the Beriim. Of the sons of Beriah, of Chever, the family of the Cheverim. Of Malkiel, the family of the Malkielim. And the name of the daughter of Asher was Serach. These are the families of the sons of Asher, according to those that were numbered of them, who were 53,400. Of the sons of Naphtali, after their families, Yachtze'el, the family of the Yachtze'elim. Of Gunai, the family of the Gunaim. Of Yetzer, the family of the Yetzerim. Of Shilem, the family of the Shimeleim. These are the families of Naphtali, according to their families, and they that were numbered of them were 45,400. These were numbered of the children of Yashrael, 600,730. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying,
Unto these the land shall be divided for an inheritance, according to the number of names. To many you shall give the more inheritance, and to few you shall give the less inheritance. To everyone shall his inheritance be given according to those that were numbered of him. Notwithstanding, the land shall be divided by lot, according to the names of the tribes of their fathers. They shall inherit. According to the lot shall the possession thereof be divided between many and few.
And these are they that were numbered of the Leviim, after their families. Of Gershon, the family of the Gershonim. Of Kohath, the family of the Kohathim. Of Merari, the family of the Merarim. These are the families of the Leviim. The family of the Leviim, the family of the Chevronim, the family of the Machlim, the family of the Mushim, the family of the Korchiim. And Kohath begat Amram. And the name of Amram's woman was Jochebed, the daughter of Levi, whom her mother bore to Levi in Mitzrayim. And she bore unto Amram Aharon, and Moshe, and Miriam their sister. And unto Aharon was born Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. And Nadab and Abihu died, when they offered strange fire before Yahweh. And those that were numbered of them were 23,000, all males from a month old and upward. For they were not numbered among the children of Yashrael, because there was no inheritance given them among the children of Yashrael. These are they that were numbered by Moshe and Eleazar the priest, who numbered the children of Yashrael in the plains of Moab, by the Yarden near Jericho. But among these was not a man of them whom Moshe and Aharon the priest numbered. For when they numbered the children of Yashrael in the wilderness of Sinai, for Yahweh had said of them, They shall surely die in the wilderness. And there was not left a man of them, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh, and Yahusha the son of Nun.
Okay, praise, yeah. You know, chapters like this, you really get an opportunity to try to practice on your Hebrew pronunciation. Hallelujah. So this is kind of interesting. I've learned that none of this is written for no reason. We serve a very detail-oriented Elohim. I mean, look at nature and just how everything is just so... And so little things like this are here to let us know certain things, because I will have to say, looking at some of these things has helped me, us assembly leaders, when dealing with certain situations. I mean, if we're going to deal according to Torah, we have to learn these stories and learn, because it's like he tells us to execute mercy and be merciful and forgive people, forgive everyone as you've been forgiven. And so I'll be honest, just starting off in ministry, it was just like a free mercy, like because it was like I misunderstood that verse to mean an extreme example that you just forgive everybody all the time for everything. Now, on personal hurt, and if someone forgives you, yeah, and he says 70 times 7. But when it comes to the health and order of a community or assembly, which the Torah is a guidebook for one, his community, right, his kingdom, you have instructions to be merciful and forgive, and that's I mean, there's even prophecies. We're talking about this throne of David being erected back up. Isaiah 16 says, "And in mercy shall the throne be established, and he shall sit upon it in truth in the tabernacle of David, judging, seeking judgment, and hasting righteousness." And so here it is right here, even in this one sentence. Well, the throne is established in mercy, but yet you still have to judge, and even like looking at verses like when Messiah is like, "Judge not lest you be judged." And so that kind of has also been taken into, well, hey, you do you, I'll do me. We'll work out our own salvation in fear, trembling. Whatever. I'll act like I didn't see that, and that way we can just both be nice to each other. And that's not it. That's not the faith. That's nothing. There's nothing of substance there. We're either going to stick to something diligently, like Phinehas style, or not. And that's what he says, I want you hot or cold. And if you don't want to be hot, just go be cold. Like, stop sitting on the fence. Lukewarm, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. And so, point back here is, well, these are two different things, mercy and judgment. So if someone's in the wrong, right, and we have to judge over it, there's going to be one of two outcomes. Either can have mercy and lighten the punishment, or mercy and completely forgive it and there's no punishment, or someone has to be punished, and there's different scenarios. And so this is one of those things where you have to learn some of these stories and find out like what is going on, because you have the children of Korach who did not die, but then you have Achan. I mentioned earlier, this is the story of Achan and his family, where they saw the gold and silver in Jericho, and they had instructions ahead of time, don't take it. And they're like, oh, gold and stuff, let's take it home and bury it in our tent. And so they got caught in front of everybody, and all Israel stoned him with stones, and so all of their kids, the sons, daughters, they all suffered. And so wait, why would all the children suffer for here, but here not? And some of these stories you have to deduce. Perhaps the children all were involved in this, because if they buried it in their tent, everyone was aware of this. All the children were complicit. Whereas perhaps with Korah, and when Moshe was like, hey, separate yourselves from Korah and his assembly if you don't want to die, his children could have been like, I don't know what dad is doing. This is not okay. Moses is the leader. You can't do sedition. We're out, right? And so they didn't die. And it's very parallel situations of sin. But ultimately, we see the heart of Yahweh here in Ezekiel 18, verse 20. The soul that sins, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him. But if the wicked will turn from all his sins that he has committed, and keep all my statutes, and do that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live, and shall not die. All his transgressions that he has committed, they shall not be mentioned unto him. In his righteousness that he has done, he shall live. Have I any pleasure at all that the wicked should die, says Yahweh Elohim, and not that he should return from his ways and live? But when the righteous turns away from his righteousness, and commits iniquity, and does according to all the abominations that the wicked man does, shall he live? All his righteousness that he has done shall not be mentioned. In his trespass that he has trespassed, and in his sin that he has sinned, in them shall he die. And so, anyways, and this, to me, this is not talking about, man, you make a little slip up and you repent, and even David, super mess up, but Yahweh, forgive me, and he was serious about it, and he was forgiven. Much like if you followed a few weeks ago with us about, wait a minute, why was the stick picker upper in in the wilderness, stoned to death, but David was forgiven. And again, we saw where the man was prideful and arrogant, especially when being corrected. And so this is the difference. These are the deciding factors whether there's mercy or judgment. And doesn't that continue in a higher and heavenly way when he looks at us and who he forgives and who he doesn't? I mean, he says very clearly that the prideful person he will cast out. The prideful person will not be forgiven. And so in a similar way, if we're going to be in his image and walk like him, that's the distinction. People that are humble and meek, they will be forgiven, especially if, when they ask for it. But the prideful and the resistant and the ones who strive against leadership, and no, it ain't going to work. I mean, ultimately, that is the continued sin of rebellion of Satan. Is he ultimately thought that Yahweh's laws were oppressive and restrictive or whatever it was, and he thought that he could do things better his own way. And ultimately, this whole 6,000 years is showing us that, hey, that ain't the right way, and what a cool generation to be a part of, that at the end of the days, we can declare openly that the law of Yahweh is freedom, right? It restores the soul. The testimony of Yah is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of Yah are right, rejoicing the heart. The command of Yah is pure, giving light to the eyes. The statutes of Yahweh are right. I said that again. Anyways, the point is that we will be a witness against the rebellion, the original rebellion. Out of babes, he has perfected praise. We're those babes that he's raising up, that is perfecting praise and being like, you know what? I disagree with you, Satan. I believe the law of Yahweh is freedom. It is restorative. It is light. It is peace. It is love. It is joy. It is kindness. It is self-control. It is all these things. It teaches us all these precepts. And that I think we've seen, especially us in this last generation, we're seeing the blossoming fruits, or the thorns, if you will, from his way, right? Debt, oppression, murder, lies, do as thou wilt, no accountability to the Torah. This is the fruit of it. But Yahweh is doing something amazing in these last days, and there's a group that's going to stand up and be like, no, I disagree. The law is freedom, and we're going to walk in it. We're going to walk up and down in the name of Yahweh. Numbers 26:46. Obviously, we're seeing a bunch of male names. Now, here was an interesting situation, of course. This man had no sons, just daughters, and that's going to tee us up for a little bit also further in Numbers. But you see that they have an inheritance. You see Yahweh is compassionate, reasonable, more than reasonable, of course. And so it was a reasonable complaint. And so it's like also loving, seeing Moses' meekness instead of being like, what do I think should happen here? No, it's like, hey, boss, how do you want this done? How do you want everything, your kingdom run? Same thing with David. Hey, should we go up? No? Okay. Hey, should we go fight? No? Okay. Yes? Okay. Anything for you, boss. You're the boss. We're going to respect you. We're going to do what you ask us to. And I wasn't saying that in a cheeky way, in a very serious way. Like, hey, you are the boss. We are just the executors of your will. We're only just here to do the will of our Father in heaven. So, and then here's what's interesting. Anyways, all the mentioning of the son's name, but then you have all out of nowhere, the name of the daughter of Asher was Sarah. And so without any context, you're like, okay, why is she going to mention? Because even just in the naming here, there's millions of people. So why out of all the millions, you had to have, okay, and the daughter of Asher. And so to me, these are little nods to I believe Yahweh would allow us to be able to search this out and be like, well, why? And to my knowledge, really the only place you can find this is the book of Jasher. And actually, I'm not going to read it, but I can just, it's a very simple story. Just that when the brothers of the brothers of Joseph came back from Egypt to tell their father that Joseph was alive and, hey, come live with him, they were like, hey, dad is really old, and if he gets this news really suddenly, he could die. And there's a lot of basis for that as well, because same thing with Sarah. When she got the news that Isaac was actually still alive, her heart gave out. She died. And so they're like, hey, we don't want the same thing to happen to dad. And so how are we going to tell dad, Jacob, that Joseph is alive and he reigns in Egypt and he wants us to come live there. And they're like, hey, you know what? Sarach is excellent on the harp. Let her play this tune and she'll just sing the news to him. Joseph is alive in Egypt. I don't know what that sounded like, of course. But so Jacob received it and he's like, I believe that she's telling the truth. And he prophesied and he's like, may you never die and such. And obviously, I don't know what the rest of that worked out to be, but either way, she was named, and so obviously something really, really cool here. So, also kind of speaking to the here, according to the lot, shall the possession thereof be divided between many and few. So it was kind of cool. It was like the more children you had, hey, the bigger space you get. It's pretty righteous. Also, maybe some good motivation to get keep the children going today. I mean, we can get a bigger plot now. I'm just kidding. Super superficial. It's very practical, though. Obviously, the more people you have, the more space you need, and the more room for growth you need. So Psalm 127, except Yahweh will build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except Yahweh will keep the city, the watchman wakes but in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for he gives his beloved sleep. Lo, children are a heritage of Yahweh, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. Now, this can be read either way. This can be read as, hey, my children are my reward. But also, ultimately, I believe that children that do keep his ways, respectfully, honorably, loving him the way he's commanded, are his reward as well. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are the children of the youth. Happy is the man that has his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. And I think this is a prophecy about his children growing up in these last days, beginning to speak with the enemies in the gate. This is the group of people that will actually turn the battle back to the gate, as the KJV says. Now, I don't remember the passage. Here we go. So he is going to be a spirit of judgment to him that sits in judgment, and for strength to them that turn the battle to the gate. So people that are going to be serious in the last days about the Torah of the Most High, maybe they're not going to be like Phinehas going around stabbing people, but maybe in a spiritual way will stand resolute for the Torah of Yahweh no matter what. And consider, things are a little different now. Back then, in the days of the Maccabees, people were being force-fed pork or else die. Consider now that the enemies refine his approach so well that they don't have to do that. He's and so the separator really is, who's going to follow Yahweh's ways or not. It's very simple. That's why you have the mark of the beast or the mark of Yah. You have obedience to the ways of the world, because that's the ways of Satan. It doesn't matter if it's Satanism, atheism, whatever. It's not the way of Yahweh. There's one way, and then there's all these other broad ways. It's that simple. So I'm ready to be like Phinehas in a spiritual way. I'm ready to draw lines. That's why this last Christmas season really kind of really interesting, that there was a lot of Balaam type of activity, in my opinion, bringing people back to sun worship. And this is where my wife and I are like, you know what? Me and our house, we're just not going to mess with that. We're not even going to tap dance around something that was formed in the time frame of some worship. Get thee hence. Get that away from us. We don't want anything to do with it. We want to be zealous for Yahweh. And this is not in a prideful way, like, look at me. But no, this is like, you know what? No. Who's going to have zeal for Yahweh? Who's going to care about what he wants? Who's going to stand in the gap and be like, you know what? You are more important to me than the feelings of mothers and fathers and daughters and sons and whoever else. You come first, boss. You're the one that made me. You're the one that formed me. And you're the one who I'm going to sing praise and be obedient to. And so that's why for us, this last season was just a hard cut and drawing the line in the sand and be like, you know what? No. No. Ain't going to happen. That is not going to be anywhere a part of our assembly. Yahweh's assembly. Sorry, the one that he's allowed us to tend. The portion of it he's allowed us to tend. Let me not speak too highly of ourselves. Numbers 27.
Bemidbar, Numbers, chapter 27. Then came the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Chefer, the son of Gilad, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. And these are the names of his daughters: Machla, Noah, Cholga, Milcah, and Tirzah. And they stood before Moshe, and before Eleazar the priest, and before the princes and all the assembly, by the door of the tabernacle of the assembly, saying,
Our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against Yahuwah in the company of Korach, but died in his own sin, and had no sons. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family, because he has no son? Give unto us therefore a possession among the brethren of our father.
And Moshe brought their cause before Yahuwah. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying,
The daughters of Zelophehad speak right. You shall surely give them a possession of an inheritance among their father's brethren, and you shall cause the inheritance of their father to pass unto them. And you shall speak unto the children of Yasharel, saying, If a man die and have no son, then ye shall cause his inheritance to pass unto his daughter. And if he have no daughter, then ye shall give his inheritance unto his brethren. And if he have no brethren, then ye shall give his inheritance unto his father's brethren. And if his father have no brethren, then ye shall give his inheritance unto his kinsman that is next to him of his family, and he shall possess it. And it shall be unto the children of Yasharel a statute of judgment, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe.
And Yahuwah said unto Moshe,
Get you up unto this mount Avarim, and see the land which I have given unto the children of Yasharel. And when you have seen it, you also shall be gathered unto your people, as Aharon your brother was gathered. For ye rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Sin, in the strife of the assembly, to sanctify me at the water before their eyes, that is the water of Meribah, in Kadesh, in the wilderness of Sin.
And Moshe spoke unto Yahuwah, saying, Let Yahuwah, the Elohai of the Ruachoth of all flesh, set a man over the assembly, which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in, that the assembly of Yahuwah be not as sheep which have no shepherd. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe,
Take Yahusha, the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Ruach, and lay your hand upon him, and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the assembly, and give him a charge in their sight. And you shall put some of your honor upon him, that all the assembly of the children of Yasharel may be obedient. And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall ask counsel for him after the judgment of the Urim before Yahuwah. At his word shall they go out, and at his word they shall come in, both he and all the children of Yasharel with him, even all the assembly.
And Moshe did as Yahuwah commanded him. And he took Yahusha, and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the assembly. And he laid his hands upon him, and gave him a charge, as Yahuwah commanded by the hand of Moshe.
Just loving Moshe more and more. I mean, he hears the news, and instead of being like, what? The first thing was like, oh man, someone's gonna have to take care of them. It's just a flock-minded instead of self-minded, flock-minded, and this is, in my opinion, this is what we see broadly, especially now with the online. Dynamic. I think you have a lot of shepherds that just want to stay from the comfort of their home. His watchmen are blind, they are all ignorant, they are all dumb dogs, they cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough. They are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain from his quarter. So this is like everyone that's basically just worried about for their own house, their own financial situation, from their own living space. Come ye, say they, I will fetch wine, so doctrine, and we will fill ourselves with doctrine, and tomorrow shall be as this day, and much more abundant. So it's just like doctrine fests, and that's where you see the testament of Yahusha. And if we are to be shepherds like him, you're actually spending time with the people and taking care of them, and yeah, just being a shepherd, And so people have to come together. I think at some point we're going to have to recognize, and I'm not judging any of you, there has to be a maturing of this faith. I've been repeating it. This Yahweh did not wake us up to hang out at our houses, in our apartments, in our condos, and to stay in our houses on Shabbat and just like watch other Torah people. Just like, this walk is meant to be lived out. We got to start coming together. And so this is kind of getting at some of the root issue is, well, if the shepherds aren't having assemblies, if they're just staying at their house, and I mean, even because online assembly is nice, it's a good substitute until you can find something, but it's literally like a crutch or a wheelchair. You got to get out of it. You stay in that forever, there's no real nourishment there. There's no real interaction. We're made to be interconnected, to see each other, to share meals together, to sing together, to dance together, for our children to interact and play together. That's how he made us. He didn't make us to be spread across and to just be withering away by ourselves. This is how the enemy picks people off. People don't have discipleship in their life. They don't have eldership. They don't have this passing down, this fathership of what I'm saying. You know, Yahusha has his father. He becomes like our father. Paul understood that, called Timothy my father, or my son in the faith. There's this succession that has to continue to pass on. There has to be accountability in one's life, and that's why we see people that are really honestly just like kind of drying up in just by themselves, not having any real fellowship. And it's just like a matter of time until the enemy just wears them down, and they get overwhelmed and give up and become one of the seed plantings. It's like either through the Satan uproots what was sown in their heart through false doctrine or just unbelief, or challenges in life, financial stress, family, being oppressed, being hated for keeping Torah, whatever. Or the cares of this world and choke up the word and become unfruitful and fall away. And so, point is, this is some of that root problem, is just people aren't coming together. And anyways, starts with good shepherding, and the flock coming together. That is of utmost importance. And with that being said, Ezekiel 34 makes a distinction here, and this is where you see Yahusha is a good shepherd that simply visited the people, prayed over them, loved them, taught them good doctrine, fed them. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, Thus says Yahweh Elohim unto the shepherds, Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? And this is kind of that root of what Isaiah 56 was talking about. They only care about making sure their own house is upright and supplied. And it's just basically they just want to teach people doctrine all day long. But this is real. This is nothing new, right? You eat the fat, you clothe you with the wool, you kill them that are fed, but you don't feed the flock. The disease have you not strengthened? And just think about the ministry of Yahusha, visiting the sick, and neither have you healed that which was sick, neither have you bound up that which was broken, neither have you sought that which was driven away, neither have you sought that which was lost, but with force and cruelty have you ruled them. And they were scattered because there was no shepherd, and they became meat to all the beasts of the field when they were scattered. And this is just like right now. I mean, the beasts of the field. This is the four beasts. Right now we're living under the fourth beast, the Rome, the eagle that Esdras tells us. And so people that are scattered, that have no shepherding, that they can be meat to the beasts of the field. I mean, America swallows them up. I mean, people without true shepherding get eaten up and swallowed and out by this world. They're fished up and gathered into one of their nets. I mean, people are oppressed, led astray from the womb. The moment they're born, I mean, what are the hospitals? In the first 24 hours, a lot of children are getting sugar with the dextrose. They're getting heparin, which includes pork. They're getting vaccinated with all sorts of adjuvants and heavy metals and toxins. And there's that physical part. And then, of course, just what people are taught from the beginning. Some people are taught that we're from monkeys. And it just, obviously, I don't have to explain the status of the world. If you've been alive for a few years, you can have an idea how this world is operating. And so this is what happens to people without real structure, without real order in their life. People need it. That's why we're called sheep. Sheep need fences. They need clean places to dwell. They need clean food, clean water, and constant shepherding to make sure that's done all the time. Because if the shepherding lacks, the stuff is going to add up. It's going to get stinky. Sheep are going to die because of disease. And this is a parable. This is supposed to show us that sheep need to be in sheep pens with walls, with fences. This is not an oppressive thing. This is a good thing. Sheep benefit from having fences, from having shepherds over them. And again, this is why I think we need to come together. My sheep wandered through all the mountains and upon every high hill. Yea, my flock were scattered upon the face of the earth, and none did search or seek after them. Therefore, you shepherds, hear the word of Yahweh. As I live, says Yahweh Elohim, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field, because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves and fed not my flock. Therefore, O ye shepherds, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh Elohim, behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. Neither shall the shepherds feed themselves any more, for I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them. I want to read the rest of this, but pause real quickly. I want to tie in the point I'm making here. So the moment Moses got the news of his death, the first thing he's thinking is flock-minded. Wait, who's going to watch over the flock? I love them. I care about what happens to them. This is a precept that we're learning from the Torah that I'm just wanting to expound on. So back to Ezekiel 34, verse 11. For thus says Yahweh Elohim, behold, even I will both search my sheep and seek them out. He literally, right? He came here as a man to do that. Yahweh Elohim, our God, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, came here as a man to do that. As a shepherd seeks out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered, so will I seek out my sheep, and I will deliver them out of all the places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day. It's cloudy and dark because the priesthood and the kingship is operating against the Torah. And I will bring them out from the people and gather them out from the countries, and will bring them to their own land and feed them upon the mountains of Israel, by the rivers, and all the inhabited places of the country. And so consider he's leading us to those Psalm 1 rivers, the Torah. I will feed them in a good pasture, and upon the high mountains of Israel shall their fold be. And there shall they lie in a good fold, and in fat pasture shall they feed upon the mountains of Israel. I will feed my flock, and will cause them to lie down, says Yahweh Elohim. I will seek that which was lost, and bring again that which was driven away, and will bind up that which was broken, and will strengthen that which was sick. But I will destroy the fat and the strong, and I will feed them with judgment. Now pause real quickly. Thinking about Yahusha, right, as the shepherd, and we are his sheep. Think about Psalm 23. This is that promise, in my opinion, the end times overcoming group who inherits the promises of David, Aaron, and Joseph. Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures, right? We're just seeing where the true shepherds leads us to a good pasture. He leads me beside the still waters. No doubt this is the cool, refreshing Psalm 1 Torah river, the water that nourishes true plants. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So a true son even appreciates his father for the chastening. A rebellious one will have hatred for his father for that chastening. Maybe even go the direction that Satan went. Thou prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of Yahweh forever. Back to the point. Ezekiel 34, verse 17. And as for you, O my flock, thus says Yahweh Elohim, behold, I judge between cattle and cattle, and between the rams and the he-goats. Seem it a small thing unto you to have eaten up the good pasture, but must ye tread down with your feet the residue of your pastures, and to have drunk the deep waters, but you must foul the residue of your feet. Now, so this is them now tainting the waters and tainting the food. So this is the Torah, the laws, statutes, commandments, precepts, ordinances. This is the nourishment. And he tells us this is not a foreign concept. In Isaiah 28, when he literally says, so they're erring, of course, through their doctrine, through strong drink. And he literally says that his word, this is the rest wherewith you may cause the weary to rest, and this is the refreshing, but yet they would not hear. The point is that not only did they drink of those waters and eat that pasture, but they fouled it. They muddied it by adding to, taking away. And as for my flock, they eat that which you have trodden with your feet, and they drink that which you have fouled with your feet. So they're drinking now these false waters, false doctrines. Therefore, thus says Yahweh Elohim unto them, behold, I, even I, will judge between the fat cattle and between the lean cattle. Because you have thrust with side and with shoulder, and pushed all the disease with your horns, till you have scattered them abroad. Therefore will I save my flock, and they shall no more be a prey. And I will judge between cattle and cattle, and I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them, even my servant David, and he shall feed them, and shall be their shepherd. And I, Yahweh, will be their Elohim. So this is Yahusha, and David my servant, a prince among them, and I, Yahweh, have spoken it. And I will make a covenant with them of peace, and will cause the evil beast to seize out of land. So this is the destruction of the Roman American power. It's coming. And they shall dwell safely in the wilderness. This is, I think we were talking about last week a little bit, that Lebanon, that wilderness, the wilderness becoming a fruitful field in the forest, and shall sleep in the woods, the forest. And I will make them, and it's like I think this word is Lebanon. But the point is that, well, actually, I don't need to make that point. And I will make them and the places round about my hill a blessing. So he's going to have Zion in the last days. He's going to restart Zion. He's going to set Zion in the midst of the enemies. And for whatever provoking reason, all the nations and the people themselves who are going to be imagining and having vanity of their own hearts are going to come against his people. But anyways, he's going to have a hill of blessing, and I will cause the shower to come down in his season, and there shall be showers of blessing. And the tree of the field shall yield her fruit, the earth shall yield her increase, and they shall be safe in their land, and shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have broken the bands of their yoke, and delivered them out of the hands of those that serve themselves of them. So at one point, he's going to break the yoke of Assyria, of Egypt, Moab. And they shall no more be a prey to the heathen, neither shall the beasts of the land devour them, but they shall dwell safely, and none shall make them afraid. And I will raise up for them a plant of renown, and they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land, neither bear the shame of the heathen any more. But they shall know that I, Yahweh their Elohim, am with them, and that they, even the house of Israel, are my people, says Yahweh Elohim. And ye my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men, and I am your Elohim, says Yahweh Elohim. So anyways, a little bit of a rabbit trail to kind of zone in on this precept of, man, this is true shepherd behavior. And so kind of how I'm saying the Torah needs to be the forefront of our minds. Any of you that have any kind of influence in the assembly or any fellowships, yourself, even just small home fellowships, we need to be flock-minded and recognizing that is why the Korah incident had to happen. Yahweh was flock-minded, and without quelling the rebellion, there could be no shalom. There has to be a united front, there has to be a united leadership team, and the people have to obey and respect and honor that leadership team. Had to set a harsh example, but for the overall goal of the healthy assembly. Just like people can pick apart Yahweh on the rebellious child who is stubborn, a drunkard, and refuses to listen to his parents. There's a harsh precedent set there, but the sentiments are echoed in that all Israel will hear and will fear and will no longer do evil. So he sets a standard and a fear, like, hey, are you going to respect me or not? Because I mean business. I mean what I say. And so we have to learn that as parents. We should be tender and loving and caring like Yahweh is to us until we get out of line. And he's like, I'm going to let you know that I'm holy and I'm righteous, and it's going to be painful for you if you continue to be hard-nosed against my law. Anyways. So here at the end, and Moshe took all that did all as Yahweh commanded him. He took Yahusha, set him before Eleazar the priest, before all the assembly, and he laid on his hands upon him, gave him a charge as Yahweh commanded. So there's this succession, and so this has got to have to be of the utmost importance for us. And it's not just limited to our children, but there has to be this passing on of the torch. There has to be this rearing up of other leaders. There has to be this constant maturing, and especially our children. We have to pass this down to them. If we want to say we're people of Torah, we've got to pass it down to them, and we can't neglect them. Even if the chastening that they sorely need in their life is going to make them hate you for a time, if you got to take away that video game system or that TV or that phone, and they're going to hate you for a minute, fine. Just like Yahweh understands that pain may really hurt us and whatever. And if people turn from him and be like, I hate you, you're too harsh, okay. That's someone that does not want to stick with his ways. It's not someone that wants to stick with him. That's not someone who wants to be really married to him. That's someone who just wants to just jam at the first sign of trouble. Okay. Deuteronomy 6. We've got to faithfully teach our children. Faithfully. Not just a side note. So the point is if you've got to do something harsh to reach your child, you got to be honest with yourself. Is your child walking in the Torah? And I'm talking maybe speaking to some of you that maybe have some older children and maybe in their teens, and you came to Torah and they're already set in their ways. I don't know what you believe, but I believe that there is life and death. And I think a lot of times parents try to turn Yahweh into something else that he's not. That, he knows that Johnny is really sweet, and Johnny knows Yahweh, but, he's just, he just plays video games all day and watches, naughty things all day or consistently, and, isn't respecting me and obeying me, but I know he'll be with me, and I know Yahweh will protect him. Come on, brothers and sisters, we can't kid ourselves. We can't comfort ourselves with lies. Either he's a righteous Elohim and he's decisive and he's consistent, or he's not. That same Elohim is righteous and forgiving to Johnny, who, if Johnny is willing to cut off the inappropriate things and start having actual reverence, and then of course he'll be forgiven. And let's move on. Let's keep moving forward together now. But I'm telling you, even if it hurts, that's what Yahweh is willing to do with us. He's willing to put us through things that hurt to get our attention. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 28.
Bamidbar, Numbers chapter 28. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying,
Command the children of Yasharel, and say unto them, My offering and my bread for my sacrifices made by fire, for a sweet savor unto me, shall ye guard to offer unto me in their appointed time. And you shall say unto them, This is the offering made by fire, which ye shall offer unto Yahweh, 2 lambs of the first year, without spot, day by day, for a continual burnt offering. The one lamb shall you offer in the morning, and the other lamb shall you offer at evening. And a 10th part of an ephah of flour for a meat offering, mingled with the 4th part of a hin of beaten oil. It is a continual burnt offering, which was ordained in Mount Sinai for a sweet savor, a sacrifice made by fire unto Yahweh. And the drink offering thereof shall be a 4th part of a hin for the one lamb. In the holy place shall you cause the strong wine to be poured unto Yahweh for a drink offering. And the other lamb shall you offer at evening, as the meat offering of the morning. As the drink offering thereof, you shall offer it, a sacrifice made by fire, of a sweet savor unto Yahweh. And on the Shabbat, 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and 2/10 deals of flour for a meat offering mingled with oil, and the drink offering thereof. This is the burnt offering of every Shabbat, beside the continual burnt offering and his drink offering. And in the beginnings of your months ye shall offer a burnt offering unto Yahweh, 2 young bullocks, and 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot, and 3/10 deals of flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, for 1 bullock, and 2/10 deal of flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, for 1 ram, and a several tenths deal of flour mingled with oil for a meat offering unto 1 lamb, for a burnt offering of a sweet savor, a sacrifice made by fire unto Yahweh. And their drink offerings shall be half a hin of wine unto a bullock, and the 3rd part of a hin unto a ram, and a 4th part of a hin unto a lamb. This is the burnt offering of every month throughout the months of the year. And 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering unto Yahuwah shall be offered, beside the continual burnt offering and his drink offering. And in the 14th day of the first month is the Pesach, Passover of Yahuwah. And in the 15th day of this month is the feast. 7 days shall matzah, unleavened bread, be eaten. In the first day shall be a holy assembly. Ye shall do no manner of servile work therein, but ye shall offer a sacrifice made by fire for a burnt offering unto Yahuwah, 2 young bullocks and 1 ram, and 7 lambs of the first year. They shall be unto you without blemish. And their meat offering shall be of flour mingled with oil. 3/10 deals shall ye offer for a bullock, and 2/10 deals for a ram. A several tenth deal shall you offer for every lamb, throughout the 7 lambs, and 1 goat for a sin offering, to make an atonement for you. Ye shall offer these beside the burnt offering in the morning, which is for a continual burnt offering. After this manner ye shall offer daily, throughout the 7 days, the meat of the sacrifice made by fire, of a sweet savor unto Yahuwah. It shall be offered beside the continual burnt offering, and his drink offering. And on the 7th day ye shall have a holy assembly. Ye shall do no servile work. Also in the day of the firstfruits, when ye bring a new meat offering unto Yahuwah, after your weeks be out, ye shall have a holy assembly. Ye shall do no servile work. But ye shall offer the burnt offering for a sweet savor unto Yahuwah, 2 young bullocks, 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year, and their meat offering of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deals unto 1 bullock, 2/10 deals unto 1 ram, and several tenths deal unto 1 lamb, throughout the 7 lambs, and 1 kid of the goats to make an atonement for you. Ye shall offer them beside the continual burnt offering, and his meat offering. They shall be unto you without blemish, and their drink offerings.
So I got a question. How many of you out there have heard, I worship Messiah every day. I don't need the Sabbath. I worship him every day. If you've heard that, and if you're at a place where you can, maybe go back and forth for a few minutes, let's say go back and forth, just have a conversation. This is a perfect chapter to reference, because this gets right to it, because you have daily offerings. So yes, we are supposed to worship him daily. That is a baseline, and that's a given. Excuse me. And then of course, on top of that, because it mentions like this is beside, like all this is besides your free will offerings and your daily offering. So it's like the point is when you get to like feast days and the Sabbaths, it's in addition to what the daily offering already was. So there's actually more offering being brought forth. And so it's like, I did mention earlier, the animal sacrifices, like the sacrifices for sin and whatnot. I believe that Yahusha has, put those into a spiritualized context. But consider the general premise remains for like these feast days. And that's what I was really wanting to really take a look at is, kind of walking this out for the last 5 years, doing the feast days seriously and as an assembly. There is still, because when people would have to come to these feast days every year, a lot of costs was involved here. There was a lot of planning, a lot of costs of travel, a lot of inconvenience of that travel. Especially with all the children and stuff. My goodness. It's a lot now for people to come here, and do feast day in a car. And just packing the car and coming. Imagine with animals and covered wagons and kids running around and kids cranky because it takes however long to get there. And anyways, it was a lot. But it was also the most joyful time. And so, just thinking about the last 5 years, just these feast days, which there's a group of people in the Torah movement that are adamant about, hey, you cannot keep this outside of Jerusalem. But it's like, man, hold on. That was because the temple was there. And hold on. We've read the same New Testament. Yahusha and Paul clearly communicate to us that we are not a temple and that he dwells in us. That was the same dynamic in the physical, but now it's here in the spiritual. And where 2 or 3 are gathered, there I am in the midst of him. So the God of Israel dwells with us. So he only dwells where he sets his name. So anyways, the point is that these feast days are so important. And what's cool about it is there is more offering. Like you've got to, people, all the food people are bringing, and it's like you see how Yahweh's assembly works together, because every year it's the same thing. I mean, you'll have people that will come and will be like, Adam, I'm gonna make it there on E and have nothing. I won't have anything to eat. Will I be able to eat? And we're like, of course, because we know that there are people that come, there are people that come with extra, and there's people that come with an abundance, and they're like, hey, they'll bring to us, and they'll be like, hey, make sure that people that don't have, and so everything gets spread around, and it's really cool to see how it works, and it always works out every year. And it almost every year comes down to to almost the penny of making ends meet of costs and food and this and that. But it's like it works out, and it's just so cool how Yahweh does that, and He uses so many hands and feet to do that. And if you haven't done a feast day with a group, to me, I was talking about what the walk was not, and it's not just hanging out in your apartments, condos, homes, wherever, off by yourself. It's just not supposed to be done that way. First of all, it's boring. It could be easier. A lot of people do it because it's easier. And in a parallel way, how some people refuse to have intimate or close relationships with people and rather just have dogs as best friends because they recognize people are vicious. In a similar way, people in the Torah movement stay away from other people in the Torah movement because their only example is what's online, and a lot of times it just looks like But the online Torah movement, that ain't it. Like it's not the only option. It's not just stay by yourself or dwell with a bunch of contentious people. Because once again, if you have an actual assembly with shepherds that care about the assembly and that care more for righteousness and for what Yahweh says to stand firm on, well then the sheep pen stays clean, the peace remains in there, and the contentious ones are out. The prideful ones go out. The ones who refuse to stop being a drunkard are out. The ones who are fornicators are out. People who refuse to get out of idolatry are, they have to stay out. Now, that's not like a harsh, like we're cutting everyone off. That every one of those sentiments should be done with discipleship and care and an outreached hand to be like, hey, let me help you. But, if the drunkard is like, I'm not a drunk, I don't want your help, like, what do you do? I mean, Paul tells us specifically, one who is, these things, you're not even supposed to eat with them. The point is, the online Torah assembly is a perfect example of what the sheep pen looks like without real shepherds. Those of you that have not experienced a real assembly with real shepherds, it's night and day. It turns into one of the best things you've ever seen in your life versus the online Torah community. I've seen some of the nastiest stuff I've ever seen. It's honestly why I got off Facebook. I'm like, I can't, because it's like if I'm on Facebook and I see unrighteousness or I see this contention, I'm like, I want to help, and like I just took my entire time away from me. But it's like it was just kind of oppressive of just seeing this constant communication of just you don't even have to explain. A lot of you that are watching me, you probably watch because you don't have an assembly. I've recognized that it's funny because when people come in the assembly, for whatever reason, they stop watching, and that's okay. It's not like that's not like an owie for me. The source of my happiness and the source of my fulfillment in life is not how many people watch the YouTube channel. It really is just my job is just to just do what I'm doing. Anyways, the point is that online Torah community, that ain't it. And a lot of people stab at the Torah community and just look at the online Torah community, but again, that ain't it. Find a real assembly with real shepherds, and you'll find one of the best things you've ever seen in your life. You go to a real feast day that's guarded by Yahweh's rules and precepts and spirit and truth and real shepherds. Now you're viewing the fruits of the Torah movement. And instead of Christmas and Easter and all that garbage, now you've experienced one of the sweetest, most awesome things you've ever seen, especially just seeing the love of the brethren. And sometimes these feast days have been war. We've had groups of people together and people come in and try to divide, and but then it's like the meal comes and Lyndon and Ruth and get on stage and the worship starts and it's like we go to battle and we sing together and we dance together and it's like, all that other stuff, it gets washed away and you're like, your hearts are burning on fire for Yahweh. It's like, honestly, it's like what we read last week when Balaam of all people stood on top of the mountain and saw the assembly of Yahweh camping together. He's like, wow, how goodly are the tents of Jacob. And in a similar way, these feast days is just become some of the most precious things of the faith. And I understand why I've never looked it up. Like, how many times is the Passover mentioned? Like, to the Passover, do the Passover, do the Passover. Yahusha comes and dies. He's like, do this in remembrance of me. And people are like, nah, we're good. Man. And so, yeah, I am definitely about worshiping him every day, but it compounds. Well, on the Sabbath, you have your daily, and you've now got the Sabbath because, practical application, definitely bringing a lot more on the Sabbath. Sure, every day I've got my morning prayer, my evening prayer. Then on the Sabbath, I'm getting together with the brethren. We're laying hands on each other. We're praying for each other. We're praying for people. We're singing together. We're dancing together. We're bringing our offerings of our food to share together, right? He says, when you do one of the least of these, my brethren, you've done it unto me. So if we're sharing food with our brethren, right, aren't we doing that? Does it have to be a homeless person on the street corner to fulfill Matthew 25? No. What about when we feed the hungry people the true words of Yahweh? Do you don't think Yahusha was also talking about that? But the point is, your Sabbath, you are bringing more on top of what you already bring. Same thing, new moons. If you haven't been celebrating the new months, the new moons, I'd highly recommend it. Because, practical application. We're getting together every new moon. We're singing, we're dancing, we're sharing food. We're doing that on top of our daily offerings, which should be our prayers. If you're not doing it, you should be operating the priesthood. Again, I'm not saying we're all Levites and priests, but we're supposed to walk like Yahusha. He's the example. I don't care if you're man, woman, child in the home. Morning sacrifice, evening sacrifice. That's the prayers. And then Passover. So these are things on top of the offerings. Yeah. And then, anyways. Yeah. A couple spiritualized version of the sacrifices. But consider the point here is that just coming to a feast day, it requires a lot of time, patience, planning, coordination, efforts, finances. You are bringing an offering. You are literally showing that what you have to say, Yahweh, is important to me. I'm going to take time out of my day. I'm going to take time off work. And for a lot of people, it is a financial stress to do these feast days, to take off an entire week during Passover. Well, that's not commended, but taking an entire week off of Sukkot, and go against the grain with work and having it requested, and having to be a nuisance sometimes to your boss. And listen, so what? I've seen people, they're like, I didn't want to ask my boss because I didn't want to upset him over the Sabbath. And you're like, wait a minute, who's more important? Who really actually nourishes you? Your boss or Yahweh? Hosea 14:2, take with you words and turn to Yahweh, say to him, take away all iniquity and receive us graciously. So will we render the calves of our lips. This is the sacrifices of our lips. Psalm 51:16-17, for you desired not sacrifice, else would I give it. You delight not in burnt offering. The sacrifices of Elohim are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart, O Elohim, will you not despise. Psalm 119:108, accept, I beseech you, the freewill offerings of my mouth, O Yahweh, and teach me your judgments. Hosea 6:6, for I desire mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of Elohim more than the burnt offerings. 1 Samuel 15:22, and Samuel said, has Yahweh a great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as in obeying the voice of Yahweh, which consider is the Torah of Yahweh. And if he appears to any of us, just literally obeying what he says there too. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. Micah 6:6. Wherewith shall I come with before Yahweh and bow myself before the high Elohim? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves of a year old? Will Yahweh be pleased with thousands of rams, or with 10,000s of rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? He has showed you, O vain man, what is good, and what does Yahweh require of you, but to do justly, love mercy, and to walk humbly with your Elohim. Hebrews 13:14. We have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. It's coming. By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to Elohim continually. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. But to do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices Elohim is well pleased. Obey them that have rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch over your souls, as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. And I know why Paul wrote this, and this is definitely not a boo-hoo and cry, but just being an assembly leader for years, a couple of years now, you do see that the elders, leaders, specifically, if there is like a point man, that's where people attack. That's where Satan attacks. That's where the people that come in to divide attack. That's where the brunt of the slander, gossip, it's where it goes. And it's just like that's the punching bag. I mean, of course, you see it with Moses in the wilderness. All he does is care for them, love them, and they're like, hey, we hate you. We want to stone you. Like, at everything that inconveniences us, and every time that you correct us and reprove us, we just want to kill you. They did the same thing to Yahusha. The brothers wanted to kill Joseph. I mean, there's Yahweh's ordained leadership. I mean, when have the people embraced him? They embraced David for a bit, but guess what? At a whim, almost the entire nation, millions, I don't know how many countless millions, but no, never mind. Off with you. Get away from here, you giant killer. We'll take your son instead. He will have him to rule over us. What, only 400 out of the entire nation of Israel stayed faithful to David until Yahweh delivered David. And then they're like, okay, sorry, we'll take you back again. So I understand. So if you're in an assembly, yeah, I don't even know what I was about to say. Doesn't matter. And again, I'm not mentioning that as a boohoo, like, oh, poor Adam, he gets picked on. I know what I signed up for, but it's just facts. This is why I'm just sharing facts why this is given to you. It's the same reason that it's like, hey, children, obey your parents. It's not natural. Hey, husbands, love your wives. It's not natural for husbands to have that loving, kind nature. We're just generally less emotional, more logic, and more like, hey, and it's like, women, respect your husbands. Respect doesn't naturally come to a woman. She has to learn to submit and be respectful to her husband. Husbands need to learn unconditional love. And of course, Messiah was that perfect example, who came and literally died a brutal death to prick our hearts and be like, hey, let me get your attention here for a second. Follow me. And so it's not natural for congregation members to obey them that have rule over you. There's a natural, and people even misuse scripture, to obey no man, like no man has rule over you. Or that's not, that's not what it's saying. Or call no man rabbi. Yahusha's our teacher, but then right after there's ordained teachers and prophets and evangelists, and so we have to balance these things, and it's not natural for congregation members to want to obey them that have rule over you. There's a natural inclination to challenge, gossip, slander. A big challenge for a lot of people is jealousy. I mean, you see that Yahweh lifts up people like David and Saul got jealous. Joseph, his brothers all got jealous. But that doesn't mean he's going to stop lifting people up. There has to be. That's the natural order of things. And part of that is to also test all those around him. And so we'll see that, and we see that just because Yahusha came and died, these challenges don't go away. But jealousy and envy, the kind of Korah stuff that it's like, I deserve to rule these people more than you. We're all holy. Who are you to lift yourself up over the congregation? When Moses is like, I didn't pick this. Yahweh did this. But the same patterns continue over and over, and they're written this way so that we can learn at some point from that. All right, so we're we're going to go into 29, and I don't have a whole lot to say actually on 29. It's kind of recounting the sacrifices, the offerings for the trumpets, atonement, and Sukkot, which the cool thing about that, it ends up being 70 bullocks during the entire thing. A lot of people would point to the representation of the 70 nations, and of course the call in Zechariah 14 that all the nations are going to have to celebrate Sukkot, or you ain't getting the rain.
Bemidbar, Numbers chapter 29.
And in the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, ye shall have a holy assembly. Ye shall do no servile work. It is Yom Teruah, the day of blowing the shofar, the day of the awakening blast unto you. And ye shall offer a burnt offering for a sweet savor unto Yahuwah, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, and 7 lambs of the 1st year, without blemish. And their meat offering shall be of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deals for a bullock, and 2/10 deals for a ram, and 1/10 deal for 1 lamb, throughout the 7 lambs, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, to make an atonement for you, beside the burnt offering of the month, and his meat offering, and the daily burnt offering, and his meat offering, and their drink offerings, according unto their manner, for a sweet savor, a sacrifice made by fire unto Yahuwah. And ye shall have on the 10th day of this 7th month a holy assembly. Ye shall afflict your souls. Ye shall not do any work therein. But ye shall offer a burnt offering unto Yahuwah, for a sweet savor, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, and 7 lambs of the 1st year. They shall be unto you without blemish. And their meat offering shall be of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deals to a bullock, and 2/10 deals to 1 ram, a several 10th deal for 1 lamb, throughout the 7 lambs, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, beside the sin offering of atonement, and the continual burnt offering, and the meat offering of it, and their drink offerings. And on the 15th day of the 7th month, ye shall have a holy assembly. Ye shall do no servile work, and ye shall keep a feast unto Yahuwah 7 days. And ye shall offer a burnt offering, a sacrifice made by fire, of a sweet savor unto Yahuwah, 13 young bullocks, 2 rams, and 14 lambs of the 1st year. They shall be without blemish. And their meat offering shall be of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deals unto every bullock of the 13 bullocks, 2/10 deals to each ram of the 2 rams, and a several 10th deal to each lamb of the 14 lambs, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, his meat offering and his drink offering. And on the 2nd day ye shall offer 12 young bullocks, 2 rams, 14 lambs of the 1st year without spot, and their meat offering and their drink offerings, for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs, shall be according to their number, after the manner, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, and the meat offering thereof, and their drink offerings. And on the 3rd day 11 bullocks, 2 rams, 14 lambs of the 1st year without blemish, and their meat offering, and their drink offerings, for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs, shall be according to their number after the manner, and 1 goat for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, and his meat offering, and his drink offering. And on the 4th day 10 bullocks, 2 rams, and 14 lambs of the 1st year, without blemish. Their meat offering and their drink offering, for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs, shall be according to their number, after the manner, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, his meat offering and his drink offering. And on the 5th day 9 bullocks, 2 rams, and 14 lambs of the 1st year, without spot, and their meat offering and their drink offerings, for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs, shall be according to their number, after the manner. And 1 goat for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, and his meat offering, and his drink offering. And on the 6th day 8 bullocks, 2 rams, and 14 lambs of the first year without blemish. And their meat offering and their drink offerings for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs shall be according to their number, after the manner. And 1 goat for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, his meat offering and his drink offering. And on the 7th day 7 bullocks, 2 rams, and 14 lambs of the first year, without blemish, and their meat offering and their drink offerings for the bullocks, for the rams, and for the lambs shall be according to their number, after the manner. And 1 goat for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, his meat offering and his drink offering. On the 8th day ye shall have a solemn assembly. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer a burnt offering, a sacrifice made by fire, of a sweet savor unto Yahuwah, 1 bullock, 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year, without blemish. Their meat offering and their drink offerings, for the bullock, for the ram, and for the lambs, shall be according to their number, after the manner. And 1 goat for a sin offering, beside the continual burnt offering, and his meat offering, and his drink offering. These things ye shall do unto Yahuwah in your set feasts, beside your vows, and your freewill offerings, for your burnt offerings, and for your meat offerings, and for your drink offerings, and for your peace offerings.
And Moshe told the children of Yasharel according to all that Yahuwah commanded Moshe.
Praise the Most High. And verse 1 of chapter 30 is on this portion. And Moshe spoke unto the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which Yahweh has commanded. And so that's why I was like, this is another one with a break. I'm like, man, this really could have just ended right here. But yeah, not a lot to say here other than looking forward to the feast days. That really has just become such a massive part of the faith for me. Just what I look forward to. It's just like our life now here is feast day to feast day. And then there's a time in between, and I'm okay with that. I like that repeating pattern. I mean, his creation repeats over and over and over and over and over, and you know, I guess I'm understanding what eternal life actually looks like. I think 20, 30 years ago, I was thinking like, oh, I guess it'd be like that Care Bears episode where they were hanging out in the clouds and like sliding on rainbows and sipping juices and whatever other delights. And now I'm more like, wait a minute, we'll get to endure here forever and just tend this place like we were supposed to in the beginning. And which, yeah. Anyways, really excited. Again, if the really call there is, if any of you have not done a feast day with an assembly, man, I would really pray about Yahweh showing you when and where you can do that. And we always have an open invitation for people that do believe in Messiah, and even if they're brand new, but are like, hey, yeah, I want to keep the commandments. We'd like to invite you. We do have some rules, and I'm not going to go over all that right now. But we have clear communication, so you can read our expectations because the feast days are conducted on our property where we live, and we're inviting people to our house, and so we have house rules, and it's nothing overreaching, overbearing in my opinion, but others have stated otherwise. But nevertheless, we're learning the importance of having fences and tending the flock and making sure that stays clean and orderly. Anyways, just wanted to mention, I think last week I maybe laid myself bare a little bit in that I asked for some prayer. Just feeling led, like I wanted to start singing again. Over the last couple of years, I've been very comfortable with just being instrumentalist and just playing guitar for Simply Prodigal and just doing the keyboard for Fishers of Men and just mixing and editing. But out of nowhere, it just like singing. But I have this really withholding. I'm like, it's so. It's like not like bad, but it's like, it's like I don't know. I have this like shyness and this I don't know. I don't even know. With there's like this withholding. But last week I prayed and something happened, y'all. I mean, just out of nowhere. Even if one of you prayed for me, it worked. I mean, I'm not the type that I just hopefully, if any of you have watched my channel for some time, I don't just willy-nilly make videos. If I wanted to, and I wanted to focus on like building subscriber base and just building this channel, then I just make a YouTube short every day and just talk about whatever, and build up the subscriber base quickly. But that's not what I want to do. And even if someone would be like, "Why don't you do that so you can reach more people?" What comes out of my mouth is important, and for me, it has to be from Yahweh. So I've come to a place where I feel like there's a kind of like this zest or this zeal or this like push from like, yes, this is what you're supposed to do it, I'm with you. And so singing, I've been out for just a couple years. I made a couple songs 4 or 5 years ago, the vocal performances, and I didn't know how to edit back then, so it's like the vocals were like so I think I got self-conscious, and I was like, you know what, I'll just stay in my safe place, which is I'll just do instruments. Anyways, I prayed, or asked for prayer, I want to start singing again. I mean, it was kind of a weird series of events. I feel bad. Lyndon ended up being last minute sick on Saturday. So it was that Friday night we recorded. And so someone prayed. And so Saturday morning, Lyndon's like, "Hey man, I'm sick. Can you take over worship?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh. Yes, I can." And so Jake and I, we did led worship and felt good. I felt really strong. And man, that night, I felt like Abba opened my mouth and I recorded my first song. And it was like a brand new song. I'm like, whoa, I've made a new song in 24 hours. And the next day I did another one. And the next day I did another one. And then in 5 days made 4 songs. It was 4 and 4, but I put that 4th one out way too early. I had to delete that and re-edit some things. I think I really tried to force that to be 4 songs in 4 days, and the quality was definitely lacking on that one. But man, I feel like Abba opened my mouth, and I am now purposed. I'm gonna be putting out a lot of songs, and some of you may not like the genres and stuff. Just know that I feel led to fish for men with this music, and particularly the genres that I'm zoning in are EDM and a variety of EDM, house, techno, whatever. And but also I like rock. I like electric guitar. I like distortion guitar. And some people even have a problem with that word distortion. I'm in a place where I believe Satan has taken the concepts of Yah and used them for wickedness. And so I believe he's used these genres to bring people to wickedness. But I believe that, in a similar way, it's like, what genre is untouched by Satan? Okay, so if you want to poke at like rock, surely there's satanic rock bands, but there's plenty of satanic contemporary artists. There's plenty of satanic country artists. There's plenty of satanic everything, And so just because, a guitar sounds a little softer, Anyway, so I'm at a point where I believe the sword that Satan has been using is music. I believe that sword, I believe his arm is being broken at some point, is what it says in Ezekiel. But that sword is going to be put into our hands. And I believe that that sword is going to bring the people back through spirit and truth. So I believe it's time to take all what we're learning. And, if people aren't going to listen to, if the world isn't going to, if the hearts of the inhabitants of the earth aren't going to change through a bunch of YouTube teachings, maybe music will do it. Satan seemed to change the direction of everyone through music. Well, why not with the power and the spirit of Yahweh, can we not lead the sheep back to the living water, lead them back to obedience to Torah, back to the real faith, piercing through the lies of Rome and her influences? Why can't we do that? And I believe we can. And there's a lot of people that have come against me and others that are maybe get into some of these genres that people don't like, but anyways, so that's all to be said. That I'm going to be playing a song that some of you may not like, and that's okay. I'm not here to make music for everyone to like this genre. That's not the point. I'm just trying to explain to you is that I don't want to lose your friendship and lose our connection without at least an explanation of why I feel led to make this music. And I believe that this is one of my offerings, and a way to evangelize, and a way to express. I mean, you see the precedents, the song of Moshe, hey, write this song so that they may remember. And it's a song of condemnation, like, I'm going to throw you in hell and burn you with fire. And it's like, do you think that was like is that like harp music? That to me, that's like, pray for me again, because it seems to work. Pray for me. I want to make Deuteronomy 32 song. Anyways, I'm gonna play a song called "The Ancient of Days." It's based off Revelation 13, and just put out a couple days ago. It's one of my favorite that I just recently put out. Even with my own music, I have some favorites. Where is that song? Oh, here we go. Okay, I have a newer version that's a little more edited than this, but it'll work. Anyways, it's called Revelation Song. So let's pray, and then I'll play this and Shabbat Shalom. So again, this is a warning. This is going to be more of rock type of music. So if you do leave the ministry because you're like, oh, Adam makes like satanic music, at least hopefully you heard my heart. And let's pray. Father Yahweh, we just come before you in Yahushua's name, and we just thank you for saving us. Thank you for rearing us up. Thank you for allowing us to be your children. We want to be your special possession, and we want to be your people, and we want to show you our love through our respect and honor to you, and by the keeping of your commandments, by loving each other, by being like Yahushua and caring about the destitute, the outcasts, the sick, the poor, those who are in sin but need to learn a better way. Help us to be that light and to not destroy people but to save people. And Father, I just bless you in Yahushua's name. Amen. And man, hallelujah. And also, last prayer request, I'm uncomfortable to ask for help, but man, the community here is growing. I really need some help. We're running out of RV spots. We've got quite a few people that want to join the property, but I need to get some more RV spots up. We had some possible funding coming in, but that's held up, and maybe that's just giving way for someone else to step up and help us out. But we need some RV spots for some community members that have been approved. We do have a interview system, and we want to know who's coming on the property, but we have a couple that are approved and want to come on, but we don't have infrastructure. And so I'm just looking for people to help that see the value in a community being built up in these last days, a community that's focused on just doing everything that I talk about here. So without being too long-winded. So anyways, this is Ancient of Days. I hope it blesses you, and if it annoys you, I apologize, but I'm just being called to do this. Love you.
Torah, 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 says forsake.